What's up, it's Fiji. In this video I was going to talk about sex transmutation, semen retention, and nofap, and why I practice all three of them. And really, semen retention is pretty much just holding in your ejaculation. It's mostly for men, so holding in your ejaculation and not never busting that nut. Like, you can still have sex and shit, but you just never bust that nut. And you keep that, you hold that in and let that life force energy build up. It gets stronger inside of you, and also those nutrients from the semen gets reabsorbed back into your body. But also, nofap is when you just don't watch porn and you don't beat it. So that's like no masturbation, no porn. And then sexual transmutation is using that energy that you build up, that you holding in, or that you build up, that sexual energy and that drive. You put that into your passion and your goals instead of putting that into just going to get laid, like swiping Tinder or going to the clubs and shit. When I first learned about all this stuff was when I was studying magic and the occult, and I realized that the magicians would actually they would use this ancient practice to hold in their life force energy so they could use that life force energy in their rituals. And it's the same shit if you want to do your goals, and same shit with their rituals, because those rituals are to get their goals to manifest. So same thing as you doing anything in this world. If I want to write my book, like, I use that life force energy to go write that book and to create that book. If I want to make this video, I use that life force energy. It's all the same shit. And that's one big misconception about the whole occult and the magic side of things. But I'm not going to get into that in this video. I'm just talking about sexual transmutation and like how it's helped me, because honestly I've been practicing this for over a year, and I'm not there was times I had wet dreams, like my body like relapsed like by itself and shit, but I don't count that shit as like fucking up, because I still practice this, you know, and I'm not too hard on myself. But but as soon as I'll do it, I'll go right back to not doing it again, you feel me? So it's like I did this and was practicing it for like a year, and then by now it's like I don't want to do nothing but my goals, like shit that doesn't have to do with my goals or won't help me in the future. I don't even want to entertain at all, at all. So I guess that's one of the side effects. But I know mostly they say you're more attractive, and not only to the opposite sex, but I believe this to be true, because I know I am more attractive now, but not only in that sense, not in the physical sense. You're just more attractive altogether, like, because no matter what you want to bring into your life, you will be able to attract it better, because your life force energy is stronger. And when your life force energy is stronger, then that's what's creating what you want, what you will into existence is created through the life force energy and that energy. And that's just bringing it down to the root. I pretty much started it because, of course, for ritual, and not only that, for control over my lower nature and my human nature, having full control over the mind, and actually self-discipline, and because I'm real big on that. That's why I practice fasting and saying no to temptations and all shit like that. I'm real big on that, because like, you can't let that shit control you. That's how I feel. Just like you can't have letting sex and letting women control you and stuff. And but all this shit, I think this is for women too, but the semen retention part is mostly just for men. You could pretty much use that drive and energy and that sexual energy and that life force energy. You could use that towards your goals instead of using that on women and wasting it on things. Because why would you waste your energy? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you gotta use your energy, use it wisely and use it for things that are gonna benefit you and your future. So one big thing, there's a lot of famous people who've practiced this. I know Nikola Tesla, which is one of my biggest inspirations, Albert Einstein, Steve Jobs, Napoleon Hill. And Napoleon Hill, actually, I read both of his books. One of his most popular books, Think and Grow Rich, and Outwitting the Devil. And they talks about sex transmutation and the importance of that energy in both of those books. And that was the first books that I've ever read it in. After then, I really started practicing it after reading it in Outwitting the Devil. If you're interested in reading, you should read those books. But also, one thing, Tesla said that after a while, don't quote me on this, but I think I heard this or seen this or read this somewhere, that he said that after a while he had no interest in women or nothing. He just wanted to invent and create. So I feel like that's at the point I'm at, because I really have no interest right now at all. Like if it's not a spiritual connection or anything, I don't care. I honestly don't. And also Kanye practices this too, Kanye West, and I heard that he, and I don't know if this is true or not, someone told me this. Someone told me that he watches porn in the studio. And now that is like, the person who told me that, he was making fun of Kanye, but in my mind I was like, what? That nigga's a genius, bro. Because like, if you think about it, you watching that, you building up that sexual energy, but then he's driving it right into his creation. So he's driving that energy right into birthing his beats or birthing his music that he creates. And I think that's genius personally, but that's only coming from my perspective, and I'm conscious of actually these topics, and I'm actually conscious of semen retention and the benefits to it. So I think Kanye's smart for that, man. I don't know if that's true, but shit, Kanye might as well hit me up, let me know, you know what I'm saying? I have a lot of shit written right here, because this is actually going in my book too, my experience on it, so and what I've learned and everything on it. So it's gonna be more in depth in the book, but I decided to make a video about it too. Yeah, and then some of the benefits they say is like help with depression and like and your muscle mass and anxiety and self-control, and on the spiritual side of things, like more just the life force energy, more energy, and things like that. I honestly believe all those things are true, just after me doing it, me experiencing it. Oh, and I also, this teaching is like everywhere who, in occults and ancient practices, I think the Egyptians practice this, even Abraham Hicks talks about this, everywhere, you can find this everywhere. And so that's how you know it's like really important, like from all aspects of just businessmen or actual spiritual people. Like they understand this, to musicians, to inventors, anything, they understand this. So I mean, you know, it's up to everybody, their choices they want to make in life, but I know I'm just here to share my experience. One of the biggest things I was talking about, how sex is actually a sexual energy exchange, and if it's an energy exchange, then you actually should I believe that you should only exchange your energy where it's an actual balance, and it's a balance in energy where you guys balance each other out in positive ways. If you're exchanging energy with someone that's at a low vibration, you're a high vibration, it's not going to be balanced, that's an imbalance, because it's two different. When you got to be, if you're at a low frequency, then yeah, that's balance, but you got to find someone that's at a high frequency and at that level that you're on, and then boom, that's a balance. That's, in my eyes, that's a balance. People will say, oh, but the low and the high evens out to a balance, but that's evening it out. I'm talking about keeping it at balance, keeping it high. You know what I mean? So, because it is an energy exchange, and why would you exchange your energy with someone who is like addicted to drugs and you're clean and sober? You share that energy, and then that energy is going to be attached to you, and of course you can lift that energy off when you can do spiritual baths or uncrossing or something, but I believe you might as well just make the conscious decision beforehand, you feel me? But that's why I feel like I could only have spiritual connections, and then I would let it go too far as being able to exchange my energy with someone, not only just one night stands and random people and shit like that. Like, I'd rather just have that actual connection. So, and yeah, I'm not saying like don't have sex at all, but because there is practice, and yogis practice how to actually hold that ejaculation in while still hold that ejaculation in while still reaching an orgasm. And that's something that I want to learn how to do, and plus tantra or tantric sex and shit like that, but I don't have a partner to learn that with, you feel me? And I could get one, but at the same time, it's not my main focus right now. My main focus is creating right now. So in the future, in the near future maybe even, I will practice that, because I don't mind having sex, but I'm saying when it comes to ejaculating and shit, I would rather not. If I find someone who's understanding enough to help me like practice and work through that with me, then yeah, that's cool and that's dope. But from now on, like, I don't need it, and I'm not gonna go run searching for it, because I can use that energy to go create, you feel me? And that's what I'm focused on right now. And like, to be honest, man, I'm like non-stop with it, bro. Like, I've already made like 3 videos today. I made a song today. I'm about to edit these videos right now. Like, it's just, I'm non-stop with it. When I'm at work, I don't waste no time. Like when I'm slow at work, I'm reading a book, I'm writing my book, I'm doing something. You know, I'm not wasting time, and it's so much better. And I have no interest to play video games and waste time or anything. I have no interest in none of that. I'm only interested in transmuting my energy into something and creating something, bringing something into the physical realm. And they even say that if you're always wasting your life force energy, and that's the big reason why most people go their whole lives and are never successful or reach any of their goals or anything. So it's like, and also they say that they get ill, and people, that's why older dudes their dick can't even get hard and shit like that, because they busting all day in their 20s and shit, and then by the time they get older, they can't even do shit, you know what I'm saying? And then at that point, what are they gonna do? Like, these people be 40 years old, still in the clubs and shit, still in the bars and shit, still at strip clubs and shit. Shit's crazy. So it's like, what are they gonna do after you old as shit and you can't pull that many hoes no more? Then what can you do? You know what I mean? Like, so me personally, I'm just not on that shit. You know, I'd rather just drive that energy into my goals and ambitions. And why would I, if I know that it's making me weaker and making me sick, then why would I do that? I want to do something. I want to do what makes me stronger, not what makes me weaker. You feel me? It could be used as a manifestation tool, and you just have a partner and you're having sex with them. It's just using that and visualizing as soon as you come to orgasm, and especially when both intentions are intertwined, you both have the same intention, and then you build that sexual energy up while you guys are procreating. And then when you guys come to orgasm, that's when you visualize and think and create of what you want to create. It's like a manifestation tool, and it's very powerful that way. When you're having an orgasm and you go in that state, it almost puts you in like a trance-like state, and that state is called gnosis, like a hypnosis. So that's directly influencing your subconscious mind, and anybody knows that studies this stuff knows that how important your subconscious mind is when manifesting things, because your conscious gets vulnerable in that state of gnosis, and that hypnosis, it gets vulnerable. That's how hypnosis works. They put you into that state where they can influence your subconscious mind, and that's the same thing you do when you're orgasming. So you can use it as a manifestation tool. And I even came up with just making a sigil. Like if you're into the occult side of things, or the new age side would just do the first one I said, but the occult side, like you can even charge a sigil, forget what the sigil is, then later when you go when you with your girl or something, just draw it on her ass and just like, you know, and then do your thing, you feel me? But and then just focus on it the whole time, build that sexual energy up, and then boom, and then as soon, you know what I mean, and then let that sigil hit your subconscious, and then boom, you good. And that's one of the most powerful ways, and I can't wait to try that. But I know it works. I mean, just me understanding and having an understanding, I know it works because I know how sigils work. So I know that will work. And actually that would probably work really, really fucking good. I even have a lyric, because I rap and shit, so I even had a lyric where I say, draw a sigil on her ass, then I fuck, some shit like that. And another thing I wanted to talk about, when people just do this shit so they could get instant pleasure, but like, think about it, when you create, you get that pleasure too. When you know that you've completed something that you set out to do, you get that pleasure too. When you know you've created or invented something, you get that pleasure, that good feeling. And if anything, it feels better. So like, cause most of my experiences when like the one night stands and shit, man, that shit just made me feel worse. You feel me? Like, cause after that, it's like after you're done, you just like, what now? Like, and then you don't want to use people like that shit. Like use, smash, and then just what now? You useless? Nah, that shit don't hit me no more. You feel me? Like even back then, I used to feel bad. Like, but I was just ignorant, and I just didn't know. And I was just, my soul was just like, nah, bro, you tripping. But my mind was just like, nah, well, you know, it is what it is. But nah, but now I know, and I'm having an understanding. The more I grow and the more I get older and practice, but it hits me better. It feels better when I complete something, complete a project. That feels better to me than just having a one night stand. You feel me? And then now the spiritual side to this whole thing is actually when you're raising that life force energy, because when you always ejaculating, you're keeping your life force energy down to the root chakra, the lower two chakras, sacral and the root chakra. So that's only pleasure and like dealing like money and finances, like physical things, only physical things purely. So, and then But when you hold that in and you build your life force up, you bring the Kundalini energy up, and that Kundalini energy goes all the way to the crown, the third eye in the crown, and that's each chakra system is another new level of consciousness and a new level of enlightenment. So it's when you always living on those two base chakras, and that's what most of humanity lives on. And that's, to each your own, man. If that's what you want to live on, you feel me? But me personally, I want to rise up, and I know that I've risen up, and I feel like it got to the point, because I heard that when you reach like the crown chakra, you start to see the negative in people, because I get tingly feelings in the top of my head and shit, and I know it's the Kundalini energy, but you start noticing the negative in people, and I that's why Buddha and the monks and shit or whatever would go away from society when they reached that level of enlightenment, because they knew they just couldn't bear it no more. But I'm young, but I still do it, because I don't let it get to me. When you have control of your brain, you just banish those thoughts and shit. You just don't let those thoughts get to you, and you just think positive thoughts or whatever, And so I don't really have that much of a problem with it, but I do highlight a lot of the negatives in people a lot. Like, I see it a lot, and it's everywhere in this society. But also I highlight the positives too, though. It's not just the negatives. Like, I highlight the positives too. So, pretty much when you reach the solar plexus, I think that's more of being able to channel. And then your heart chakra, it goes to like compassion and love and shit. And then your throat, being able to express yourself, and your third eye, being able to manifest more, and then your crown chakra, that's the connection to the divine. So once you have this connection, your life force is all built up, connecting and aligning all your chakras. Pretty much that's when you get the divine sparks and the divine link that you create. It goes through all the chakras, and it births down from the sacral chakra into the root chakra, and the root chakra is the physical realm. So you're birthing it into the physical realm from the divine. So that's pretty much like how I see it, and that's what I believe Albert Einstein and Tesla, and this is how they were that's their genius. Their higher selves they're connected to their higher selves and their divinity, which manifests all these great inventions into the physical realm. So it's the same with anything you want to do. And if you reach that level, when you hold that in, you really have that connection, and you work in divine order. You work in divine order, and you work with your higher self when you have that connection. But you can also get this just through meditating. But if you're doing both, imagine that. Like how connected to source you will be, and how connected you are, and being able to create and stuff. And like, ever since, I know when I was first I'm way more easier to express myself now in front of the camera and shit, and even around other people and shit. Like, I express myself. And honestly, when I first started and I was letting people know that I practice this shit, I automatically get said, "Oh, you're gay." You swing for the other side, bro. Just be like, nah. See, that just proves people's ignorance, because they like to judge, and they fear, and they get mad at what they don't know. So what they don't understand. So when they don't understand that, they're like, why is this nigga not fucking bitches? And they're like, oh, he's gay. So they gotta judge it, not knowing that I'm actually conscious of what I'm doing, you know what I mean? And it's not just like of course I love women and stuff, like I'm in the physical realm, but at the same time, I don't care no more, Like, I'm not gonna go out there and waste my energy and time go looking for one. So it really comes down to, like, it really helps you get a grip on your animal nature and your lower nature, and it helps you come up towards your higher nature and connect to your divinity and connect to the high divine supreme beings that we are. So and it's either like you chase pleasure in the lower, or you chase pleasure in the higher, because I get pleasure from giving things to people, I get pleasure from being nice to people, I get pleasure from creating things like that. But even though I'm still working on that shit, but like, I'm not an angel, but at the same time, I'm working on it, and that's what I get pleasure from, you know. And I get pleasure from seeing people do good. I get pleasure from seeing other people create, you know, instead of like, and then the lower shit, like all that self-destructive behavior in people, I don't like it, and I would rather not. I'd rather not even hear it, honestly. That's why when people hit me up and they're complaining about shit, I just stop replying. I'm like, I'm not gonna sit here and read you complaining about your life, making your life worse, when you know better. And I could tell you like what I would do in that situation, but you don't listen to it, you just want to complain. Why am I gonna waste my time and energy on you? You know what I mean? So I didn't read all of it that I wrote, and that's gonna be in that chapter of my book, but I know that was a lot of it. So pretty much my whole thing on it is I approve of that shit, man. Like, and from my level of consciousness, I feel like it really helped me in my spiritual practices, and me being able to create things, and me being able to manifest things. And I feel like I'm at the point, because I know that I create my reality. It's not a belief, like I know I do. So things come like, I can't snap. Things come like that. But again, I'm not saying I'm anti-sex or nothing, because I love that shit too. But at the same time, you got to be conscious of what you're doing. Oh, one thing I do like to add is also how when you get really successful, then that's when, you know how everybody talks about when you get successful, that's when you get all the women and shit. Well, doesn't that just make sense, because they're trying to get that energy off you? They want that energy of prosperity. They want that successful energy. So pretty much what I was saying, once you get successful, they want your energy after that, right? Like they want to be a part of that, or they want to have that exchange with you so they can feel that energy for that time being. But it will be short-lived if they don't know how to maintain that frequency and that vibration, which usually they don't. But you know, when people who are at that status, and if they want to do it like that, because I know even if they're conscious of it or not, they probably still use it for their advantage and get laid all the time. You know, that's cool for them. But are they just wanting your energy though? You know, to feel that prosperity for even that time being, or to be in that even just for a little bit. You know what I mean? But like, you can look at it the physical way, where they just want your money, or you can look at it the energetic way, or the spiritual way, when you say they want your energy, they want to take that from you. So either way, it's the same shit. So now but yeah, that's all for this video, man. I know it's gonna be a long video, but thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you want to, but one love.